Okay, let's confront Klasia.
It's always good to see you.
She cracks a weary smile, leaning back against the railing.
Something in her demeanor has changed. She's tired, consigned to her fate, to being here with you and what's to come.
I need to talk to you about your room again.
Yeah?
That door there, did you know it leads to a downstairs elevator?
I did not. Mystery solved then. I kept wondering where it led.
There's a peephole on the other side looking into your bedroom.
A peephole? You mean like a hole in the wall?
Yes, looking into your bedroom, miss.
Okay.
There's a pause as she processes this information.
A jitter of fear and disgust moves through her body, beginning from her shoulders and ending in her hips. The cigarette tastes foul to her now.
Do you think this is somehow connected to me?
It could be connected.
Okay. Do you have any way of knowing how long it has been there?
Unfortunately, no. But if I were to guess, long enough. The perforation is under the bookshelf on your wall. It should not be hard to cover with some tape.
If it is recent, who do you think made it?
Shit. I don't know. Maybe it's been there for a long time. Maybe the local kids use it or something. I don't know. I'll be fucking covering it up with a lot of tape, that's for sure. Was there anything else back there?
There were tracks on the floor. They were recent.
Huh. This isn't good.
It's also an old pinball workshop, the room back there. This place used to be a pinball arcade.
Okay. I'm glad someone's had fun.
That's all for that subject.
Mm-hmm.
She flicks the ash from her cigarette almost absent-mindedly.
She's lost in thought, eyes narrowed, forehead furrowed.
I have other questions.
All right.
The Hardy Boys told us what really happened.
I understand.
She puts her coffee mug on the table. You sent us on a runaround.
I know. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For all of this, for wasting your time.
This is good. Clear the air first, between you two, then move on to questions. No, it's not good. It's the opposite of that. This will let her dictate the terms of your... Shush, I can't hear what she's saying.
Why did you waste our time then?
Because of the Hardys. I couldn't just dispense with them. They were only trying to help me. Out of the shit I'd gotten into.
That's not a good enough reason.
You're right. There's more.
More.
You answer to the coalition government, and by extension, the moral intern.
She reaches for a new cigarette. The RCM isn't the lapdog of the moral intern. You don't have to worry.
You share a database with them. You send people to their courts.
She lights the cigarette. What's going on? What did you do?
Just business. But bad business for some people in the moral intern. If I show up in your records, officer, they will find me. They will...
What happens if they do?
They will kill me, sir. If you file my name, take me in for questioning, enter me into the moral intern mill, well, then I'm fucked. For nothing. This murder didn't have anything to do with me.
Fucked. People after her? Moral intern people? This isn't Orionese lit. Here we go. For once, you seem to have her off guard.
You said you studied Orionese lit. What's with this fugitive stuff?
I did. I also had a side job selling insurance that I was really good at. Got picked up by a bank. Competitive intelligence, they called it. After that, I sort of, transitioned out of the whole culture scene.
What did you do to have these people after you?
It's not nice, but it's not illegal. Not here in Ravishol, or even in Orania.
What exactly did you do?
Industrial espionage. I joined a business collective with the intention of betraying them. I did my job well enough to be asked to do it again. With a bigger company. The kind you really, really don't fuck with. I took their ledgers, 2 decades worth of accounting.
I need the names of the companies involved and who hired you.
He taps on his notebook.
The job was Lewes doing County Savings Bank. They sound small, but they're part of the Lou Scott conglomerate. That was the second job. The first was some printer company. You wouldn't know them.
But she really destroyed them. She still feels it.
As to who hired me for the job, I don't know. But they're after me too, along with Lou Scott and their friends in the MI. Once you're done in the competitive intelligence circuit, you don't have allies. You're radioactive.
Lowe's Cap. These people engineer financial disasters in second world countries. The conglomerate also includes the Bank of Consecration, Airberg, and the popular Papalolo line of dairy products.
Papa Lolo.
Yeah. Papa fucking Lolo wants to kill me.
She smiles. That's a lot of shit you've gotten yourself into.
It is. Many people lost their jobs. Not just C-suite. Ordinary people. What I did to get to accounting...
She shakes her head at the thought.
A lot of people got hurt. But that's just more of my shit you shouldn't have to deal with. You're solving a murder.
That can wait. Look into her eyes. There's more.
What did you do?
One of them killed themselves because of me.
She says it quickly, like she's said it 100 times, to herself, to get used to the idea, out of guilt.
That's not easy to deal with.
How do you deal with anything? It's all just... How do you do it?
I don't either.
There you have it. The way of the warrior.
She's already devoured this cigarette she just lit and looks at it sadly. What happened here the night he died?
We were there. Together. In bed, I mean.
Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay. He was in a kneeling position. He had just entered me. I was on my back, looking at him. I heard the window behind me shatter, and I turned to look. There was a hole in the glass. I turned back to him. His eyes were looking through me, and his mouth was open, dumb. I could see. I knew he was dead. Before he fell down on top of me.
Then what happened?
He was heavy. I pushed him off and he fell to the floor. There. He only had his boots on. I bit the pillow, not to scream, then ran downstairs.
There's a long pause. She just stands there, her arms at her sides.
I waited for the second shot to come. For me. I thought there would be one. It never came.
She's forgotten about her cigarette. The butt has burned right down to her fingernails.
Your cigarette, miss.
Oh.
She looks at it and quickly tosses the butt aside. That's a motherfucker.
Yeah. It was a real motherfucker.
She immediately lights another one.
What time was this? When did it happen? It would help us if you could be as precise as possible.
11:30 to 12:15. I don't know the exact time. Around midnight.
It's okay. Were you inebriated?
Not as much as usual. He'd done a line, plus other things. I was drinking.
This doesn't fit with the testimony of Titus Hardy. He said she was higher than usual.
Titus said you looked pretty high.
Oh, yeah. I did one of his lines, just to clear my head.
Did you hear or see the shooter in the course of this?
No,
What did you do then?
nothing. I was trapped. I was stuck in my room downstairs. I got some clothes on and crawled back up, drew the blinds. Blood was coming from his mouth. Not a lot, just a little. He was still on the floor, slouched. I couldn't be there with him anymore, so I ran down and out of my room, into the hallway, down the stairs. I knew there would be people there.
Run, woman. Run past them and out into the streets where it's dark and people move. To the lorries at the intersection, as far as you can.
Why didn't you run away from here? As a matter of fact, why are you here now?
I already ran. I ran from an entire Isola. I can't run any further. Not with these people. This is as far as it gets.
What happened after you ran downstairs?
Sylvie was tending the bar. A lot of people were there. The Hardys were at the table in front of the stage. I think the Union box was full. Ruby was there too. They were having such a good time. I sat down and they all welcomed me. I didn't even have to say anything. Ruby knew something was wrong.
Before we continue, who is Ruby?
Ruby. You know, the leader.
The leader? Of what?
The Hardy Boys.
She says this as if it's self-evident. I thought Hardy was the leader of the Hardy Boys.
Well, nominally, yes. Ruby's the one they go to when things happen, like things they need taken care of. She's the organizer.
Would you say she is the 8th Hardy Boy?
Why not?
Okay, let's go on. What then?
Well, Ruby said let's talk upstairs. I showed her the room. I've known these people since December. They know my situation, that I can't leave a paper trail. Ruby was the first one I told. She said she'd take care of this. It's what she does, you know, take care of things. I helped her get the body to the bathroom. We used a belt to pull him up under the shower, to keep him upright.
To mislead you, they were tampering with the body.
To produce lividity, matching a hanging?
Yes.
We completely missed the tampering. Looks like you got there in time. What was this, 20 minutes after death?
Oops.
About 20, yes. Ruby explained it would make the blood... You know what he does.
She looks at the ground, then raises her light brown eyes to meet yours. Then what did you do?
Ruby went outside to talk to Titus and the boys. I was just looking at Lely in the bathroom. I had to put his clothes back on. His armor, too. It was tough, but I've seen him take it off and put it on many times. It took Ruby maybe half an hour to come back with Titus. I'd gotten him ready by then. They carried him out. I knew what they were going to do. Make it look like a hanging. Ruby said they would.
What did you do while they were hanging him?
Ruby said to wait here. She also said I wouldn't see her for a while. That we should lay low or something. So I did.
This Ruby. Where is this Ruby now?
I don't know. I haven't seen her since.
We will need to take this question to the Hardy Boys.
Interesting. Why did this Ruby go through so much trouble to hide something someone else did? Look into this later. What are you doing? Coming up with a theory. She said Ruby knew something was wrong before she said anything. How come? It was loud downstairs. She couldn't have heard the shot. It is ominous. You already coming up with theories that put the blame on someone other than Clausia.
When it happened, did you hear the gunshot?
When he was shot? I may have. I don't know. I couldn't hear anything over the glass exploding.
The gunshot wasn't that loud. This is something to keep in mind when assessing the distance of the shot.
Could the people after you have killed him?
That's the first thing that went through my head when I heard the glass break.
And?
I thought they'd found me. They've killed him to punish me. All last week, I've tried not to talk to anyone or be seen with anyone.
She looks at her cigarette.
So they wouldn't be hurt. I've come to understand, however, this is paranoia. What happened didn't have anything to do with me.
But maybe it did.
I just don't know. I don't know anything.
We can't go after loose cap. Not yet. There are other, saner leads.
I don't ask you to, Lieutenant. If there's one thing I know, it's that you'll get nothing from there.
Why did you call the cops if you were hiding?
Because I'm an idiot.
The answer comes fast.
Idiot. She's nothing of the sort.
I don't think so. Why did you do it?
You have to understand, the people around here, no one was making the call, and he kept rotting. And then they picked his clothes off, and that little fucker threw stones at him. He kept throwing stones at him for 3 days. I could hear the thud. Thud. So I called you. I hope with all my heart it's not the last thing I do in Ravachol.
She definitely called the cops. That was task complete. It could not have been a lie. That is impossible. Oh God, that was a lie too. Who made the call then? She did, of course.
When was the window changed?
Last week, Angus and Titus's brother, I think he's called Tibbs, took care of it.
She takes a drag.
You should have another look at that window after this. Reconstruct the scene. It's right there.
In her bedroom, inside.
Yes, you see the glass sparkling out of the corner of your eye.
I think we're done here, for now.
She nods, silently. She doesn't even smoke. Just picks up the cold coffee and holds it in her hands.
The lieutenant glances at you, then at the door.
He's thinking, are we done here? Or should we arrest her? She's a flight risk and she lied to you. She should be taken into custody. No, that won't be necessary. Just leave her alone. She's been through enough. She doesn't need this police brutality. This guy won't budge. You have to wake Multiface up, forcefully, if you want to continue pushing her.
Drama, heroic. In God's name, wake up.
Who? What? Dear God, you've been lied to. She could have killed her lover and lied to everyone. She's not candid at all. She's smoke and mirrors and willow-wisps. She probably didn't give you her real name either. Why would she? Arrest her immediately before she further entangles you in her web of lies. Take it easy. Don't overcompensate with this course correction. Ask questions first. Yes, start at the top. Choose at the bottom. It's how we've always done it. No rush. See?
You know, I think you didn't make that call to the station.
I did. What is this? I called your desk or whatever it is. The numbers are all over town. Call 8-100-2 for emergencies. There was an older woman on the other end. It sounded like she was smoking. She took my complaint. She coughed.
That is the emergencies desk number. Anyone could know that, sire, by looking around and calling the desk. I don't believe a single word she says.
What time did you make the call?
Thursday night. It was late, sometime after 12.
It checks out.
Anyone could know the number, and that someone coughed. It means nothing.
But I know the time of the call too. I know I have not been 100% truthful with you officers, but I am now.
She sounds like a 6th grader, apologizing.
Your real name isn't Clasier Amandu.
I agree. You wouldn't give us your real name, not when people are after you.
Okay.
Her voice cracks suddenly, like there's a garrote around her neck. Okay, what?
Okay, it's not.
Good. You can tell me the truth.
You log your work every week. It's all transmitted to Common, sir. I couldn't just beg you not to enter my name. So I lied. Like I lied before. Like I did at LCSB. I have to lie all the time. I'm so tired of it.
She looks at her hands. Her fingernails are chipped white. Was the passport bullshit too, that passport you keep hidden?
No. It's submerged in a plastic buoy on the coast, in the reeds. It just doesn't say Claudia Amandu. It says Anouk Mea Smith.
Falsified documents?
Passport and visa. Given to me by my employer. I can't even use them. My employer probably leaked the name, Mea Smith, to hurt me.
Why would they do that?
I didn't show up to a rendezvous. They don't take that lightly. I didn't show up because I was afraid they'd do something to me. The job was finished. I'm just a liability now.
She fears an arrest right here and now. This has been an awful turn of events for her.
Where is this buoy?
West of the boardwalk, in the reeds. On the coast there. I put it there when I first arrived. Haven't been there since. I'm not sure I could even find it now. It's useless.
West of the boardwalk, in the reeds. We have to check this buoy out.
The lieutenant makes a note of it.
You're welcome to it. It's in the reeds northwest of here, past a Bergen sewage pipe, right near the waterline.
Tell me your real name.
It's Katarzyna Alazie.
The smile on her face is almost timid, almost painfully so.
It's a Grad name. Jimsk or Yugo-Grad in origin. Not Occidental at all. Smells of motor oil, tiger, economic desolation, and rock music infused alcoholism. It also makes Klazia almost an alacronym for Katarzyna Alazie.
Hold on. Katarzyna Alazie is not an Oranese name, is it? It's not even Mundi. It's Grad.
My parents were Zemsk immigrants, but I'm nationalized Oranese. All I remember is Oranje. Alazie is my father's name.
And Klazia is an abbreviation of Katarzyna Alazie?
It was a sentimental thing. I wanted to be more me here, this time. So I used my nickname.
A nickname? Who gave you this nickname, Klazia?
Who gave it to you?
A teenage boy. 1,000,000 years ago.
Finally we meet, Katarzyna Alazie.
She nods. Her round eyes meet yours. They seem moist from the wind on the roof.
You're probably not even Miss Oranje 37, are you?
I am. They can never take my sash and my scepter from me.
Her smile quivers.
Yes, they can, for lying.
Enough.
She nods, her back straight, ready for whatever is next.
Kim, why have we not arrested her yet?
There may be grounds here, at least for an extended detention.
A little whimper. The young woman hears you. She's looking around.
What if I told you you're under arrest, Katarzyna Alazie?
But I haven't done anything. Anything illegal.
She backs up against the railing, with a forced smile on her face.
She purposefully misrepresented information crucial to the case. Fucking mind games. Enough. That's right, gang. Stern and merciless now. Stern and merciless as we reel her in.
You're a suspect in a murder investigation. You're also a flight risk. That's all the reason I need.
The lieutenant produces a pair of handcuffs.
Please no.
Her eyes become round with fear. She tries to back further off.
I think I know who did it. I know who shot Lely. You know it wasn't me. Why would I do it? I have no motive.
What do you know? Who shot him?
She's silent for a second, as if looking into herself for certainty. Then, in a hushed voice, she says, gearing up for this betrayal is hard for her.
Ruby.
And how could she have killed him?
You said there was a secret route there, right?
She points to the door that leads to the pinball workshop.
She could have come up through there, then taken this shot. Right here, where I stand. It was too dark outside. I wouldn't have seen her.
Then slipped back downstairs without anyone noticing. That is possible.
Interesting theory. Did she know that door exists? Had you been out there with her?
Yes. She's been up here many times. She used to come to drink on the roof when,
The young woman falls silent. Her mouth moves without a sound. You're thinking about the peephole, right? The perforation in the pinball workshop wall.
She would have seen us. My bed is right next to...
She's forgotten her cigarette in the ashtray.
You mean to suggest she made it?
No. No. Why would she do that to herself? No, I just remembered you told me about it, and...
She's not really sure. It was right above the bed. She could have seen all sorts of things from there. Don't let your imagination run wild here, sire. Keep it on track.
Why do you think it was her?
She has this thing for me, ever since I met her and the boys downstairs. She's been pretty frank about what she wants.
And what is that?
Sex. And more. I made the mistake of confiding in her. I told her I was on the run. She started protecting me. It became an unhealthy relationship. When I started spending time with Lely, she told me to end it. Said there would be shit if I didn't. It was not a good meeting. We stopped talking after that, but
I don't understand. What exactly in your relationship made you think she's romantically interested in you?
she said she's in love with me. She even asked me to run away with her when I told her I'm a fugitive. She started developing notions about our relationship.
And you led her on?
The lieutenant narrows his eyes.
A little. I was flattered, you know? But then I had to let her off, and it was not easy. I came to regret being friendly with her. We maybe kissed, nothing more.
This is just sensationalism and guesses.
I know what it sounds like. That's why I didn't want to tell you before. But she knew what had happened when I came downstairs. Somehow, she knew Lely was dead. She wasn't surprised at all. When we came up here, she was calm as a stone, too. She cleaned it all up like she had a plan.
This is a familiar theory. You had it too, remember? Could it be that Ruby was covering up after herself? The lynching? Yet again, you're coming up with this. The worst thing is, it may be true.
When Ruby said there would be shit happening if you didn't end your relationship with the deceased, was she threatening you?
She came over one night, drunk, said she'd turn my life into a living hell. I've been threatened before, so I can tell when someone knows how to do it. And she's a pro. She must be. To keep the Hardys in line. I tried severing ties with her after that. I thought it had worked, but...
She looks through the window of her room.
Some of that fear is still with her. She exhales sharply. What are you talking about? She's afraid you'll arrest her.
Okay, that's it for Ruby.
Okay, and what? Arrest the liar now.
Okay, I'll keep you here, miss, for now.
Thank you. Thank you. You won't regret it.
Something tells you, you will.
Let's change the subject for the time being.
She slowly lights another cigarette and steadies her breath, as if in the presence of some tiger. You are. This is not the end of this.
Let's return to this later. Hey, thought complete.
Motorway south. The lone vector stretches in your mind's eye into the wild pale yonder, for an unimaginable distance, forgetting, until you can no longer remember anything. No cities, no mountains, no oceans, and finally, no vector. Nothing remains. A blank space with no point of reference, where only one type of motion is possible. The motion of a human throat, swallowing, and then it comes to you. To reach the end of the motorway south is to be unborn. You've had this thought before, while aimlessly wandering the streets of Jamrock. A lost piece of the man you were. A dark hope.
All intellect white checks are unlocked, and +1 Inland Empire, the swallowing motion.
As you look back, you think, so love did do him in, after all.
I was right.
If it weren't for her, he would not have been there. The shot would not have connected with his soft palate.
It killed him.
No. Communism killed him. Remember? Love made it possible. You know this much.
What is communism in this?
You do not know. A wind of needles. Airships flutter in the stratosphere.
How do I know all this then?
Who knows? It's getting cold out. You should go.
Looks like love did him in after all.
She's silent, holding on to her coffee mug. No vapor rises from it. It's cold. It appears this one has not been entirely corrupted. This may help. This may help the others see.
Say nothing. Let her answer.
Yeah. I'd like to think he didn't love me. Or that it was chemically induced and not real.
Why?
Easier that way.
She takes a sip. Was it real?
I don't know.
She looks down at the yard, then back into her coffee.
The bullet is still safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. There it is again. The scent of... The bullet is still safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp.
Try to determine what type of weapon shot this.
A rifle, Revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46 millimeter from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique.
Make?
The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. Incidentally, you have just such a rifle with you, the dusty old thing you found hidden in the basement below the commercial area. It's unusable, sadly. If it were, the bullet would probably fit the chamber.
Is anyone still making these rifles?
No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war. So there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling.
Who uses Belmargrave rifles these days?
Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for the same thing you found in that hidden weapons cache, only in working order.
What are you thinking? Bullet?
I think I know where this came from.
Okay. And?
The shot probably came from a Belmargrave rifle.
An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Ravachol, really.
Why not?
Sure, there's some arms trafficking, but the laws prohibiting the use of breech loaders we inherited from the monarchy have been effective, from what I've seen. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzle loaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end.
Prohibiting peacetime law enforcement to front-loaded rifles is a policy enforced by the Moralist International in all the nations of the Real Belt.
Worth what? Getting shot?
Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier. But back to the investigation.
Yes, something mysterious is afoot with this antique bullet type.
Mysterious? Okay. Either way, we'll know when we find the gun.
I wonder if we get any new dialogue options with Clausier after the rifle bit.
Officer, what brings you up here in the rain? Lies.
That's after asking, let's get back to those lies you told. She repeats, then trails off. It's unclear what she intended to say.
Yes, we demand she be punished for deceiving us. We demand her anxiety. We demand her fear. She slowly.
Okay, doesn't look like there's anything new. Let's go back into her room here.
This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo.
Let's see if we can use clothes to juice our visual calculus.
This window is pristine and golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. A two-hearted spider.
What position are they in?
Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain.
Where does it come from?
From the roof outside, location A prime. The glass fractures around the bullet hole, shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back.
Inspect the ghostly figures.
The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization.
Have a look at point A prime, the roof.
The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points.
Shouldn't there be gun residue outside?
There could have been. Then the rain and slush and wind washed it away. This was more than a week ago.
So I'm 80% sure the roof is where the shot was made from?
72%, with an antique weapon that fires military-grade ammunition. A Belmagrave rifle, for example. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing, or possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them one shot. The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium, a well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. Neither of them would have seen anything outside, in the darkness, too busy with their own bodies.
Could the shot have come from inside the room, a closer point?
Point X would contradict the woman's testimony, rendering the entire proposition void. These figures would be wiped out, detective.
Are there any arguments against A prime, the roof?
None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any.
Could there have been another point of origin, further away?
That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez?
Extrapolate the radius to include all of Martinez.
According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime.
More precisely,
B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet, detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on.
have a look at point B prime, the boardwalk.
700 meters away. The likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account.
Have a look at point B double prime, Land's End.
1.2 kilometers away. The least likely of these positions, let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched.
Have a look at point B triple prime, the islet.
1 kilometer away, an unlikely point of origin. Beyond the docks somewhere, on an islet in the Bay of Martinez perhaps. There are islets there, badly charted as they may be. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 10 and 33A. The angle would have been extreme, and access to the islets is questionable.
Kim, do you think the shot could have come From further than the roof? In Martinez?
From where, precisely?
Let's say B prime, the boardwalk, B double prime, Land's End, B triple prime, the islet.
I see you have given this a lot of thought. Are those the locations you've singled out in addition to the roof? And what is the likelihood, in your opinion, that it came from a further distance?
Much less than from the roof, but still.
Okay, well, we should see if there is gunshot residue or sniper nests if we go down the coast. Rule these spots out one by one. It would be the diligent thing to do. Until then, personally, I'm going with the roof version. It fits the hidden path through the whirling. A simple hypothesis.
It's time to confront Titus and the Hardy Boys about Ruby. But I think I'm going to save and leave off for now with that and pick that up next time. So let's do that.